Hi guys, welcome to Hopper's Motorsport Vlogs. How are we doing? Right, so tonight we should have, of course, the legendary Simon Hill join us very shortly. I'm just going to try and invite him in for this evening, but obviously you know how technical difficulties are these days. But yes, we should be having Simon join us very shortly. But welcome in, guys. We are going to be having a bit of a chat very soon. But good evening, good morning, or good evening, good afternoon to many viewers around the world. But we should have Simon joining us very shortly. But it is, you know, of course, Wednesday. But just wait till I get the request. But hopefully tonight should be a good one. Yeah, we got of course a few people joining, hopefully. But just have to bear with 1 second while we do get of course Simon joining us, because we do have technical difficulties, but on my end. But hopefully it should be all well. But good evening Tracy, good evening Daryl. Simon is here, so I can actually get him in the live video. I'm going to actually invite myself into the live video. Hopefully he should click accept. Fingers crossed, because it should be all right. But fingers crossed. He is watching. He is here. Fingers crossed this works. He's joining. Hello Simon, how are you, mate?
I'm all right, my friend. How are you?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad.
Let's get comfy, shall we, Andy? Let's have a little chat talk rubbish about racing cars. That's what I do best.
Yeah, feel free, mate. Thank you so much for actually giving up your time this evening, mate.
It's a pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure. Always love catching up your happy little face, Andy. It's always good to see
thanks,
you,
mate.
Thank you. I think we first caught up properly at Stetson last year, wasn't it?
We did, yes, we did. Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Now, I didn't realise at the time what a big Dan Rowbottom fan you were. Otherwise, I wouldn't have let you anywhere near Jake's car.
But not, right. I support
not the last year the BMW was in it to get anywhere near the Ford, but we'll see. That might change this year.
You never know, mate. You never know. But Robo's all right. He's a mate of mine, so you know.
He's all right with me. I like Dan. I've got a lot of time for him. He's a good lad. Worked very hard to get himself onto the grid. And a lot of people don't realise just what an absolutely stellar career Dan had in his junior stuff, especially in karting. He was one of the absolute best in the business.
Mate, absolutely. It was weird because I followed Dan, and I are very similar age. He's probably about 5 months older than I am, which many people don't realise. But then because of the West Midlands accent, that's why me and him draw each other closer. So, you know.
There you go. No, he's a good lad, good driver, works hard, as I say. He's a good laugh as well. We always have a little bit of a giggle when we bump into each other. I saw him at the Autosport show a couple of weeks ago. He was there on a Friday, and I was up there doing some work and caught up with Jake. And it was a bit of a rogues gallery. There was Robo, Josh Cook, Jade Edwards, Jake. Who else was around? There's a few of them around, all talking absolute. You know what?
Yeah, of course, mate.
You know what?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, good bunch. Again, you know, Jade, Josh, great people. You know, very good racing drivers, but lovely people as well. You know, I think one of the things why I think touring cars is so popular is pretty much across the board. You know, whoever you follow, whether it's Dan or Jake or Ash or whoever it might be, you know, there's always some really great people, and there's always you know, you go to a race meeting as a fan. I think one of the feedback we get from a lot of our guests that we take along as partners for MB Motorsport or for Jake personally, and is that you know, you can't believe how accessible it is, how friendly the drivers are, how friendly the teams, how friendly the fans are. You know, it's just a really positive environment. So yeah, that's why I think a lot.
I've always said to the fan base here on Hoppers Motorsport Blogs, I've always said I've followed the championship for 25 years, coming up at the end of May this year, and I've seen it all from Super Touring to obviously the hybrid era, the touring car, Vauxhall Coupe, Peugeot 406 Coupe, you name it, I've seen it, and nothing changes. It never disappoints me. So, you know, and I did see you race at Donington Park in 2000, you know, believe it or not, in the Lotus, but we'll get on about that.
Yeah.
It's not about me, it's about you, mate.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Do you know what, I realised, I should have realised this before now, but it's been longer since I raced regularly than the amount of time I actually raced. In other words, the last time I did a full season was in 2000 in the Lotus you mentioned. I did a bit of racing the following. I've done a couple of odd races here and there since then, but that was the last full season.
Wow.
But from when I very first started my race, and the very first race I did was in 1985. Yeah, many years ago, many years before you were born, I'm sure. And I only did a handful of races in that sort of period. But if you actually work out, from 85 to 2000 is 15 years, and I haven't raced now for 24 years this year. So there you go.
Yeah.
But obviously, being involved with Jake has been, for me personally, has been every bit, if not, well, significantly more rewarding than my own driving. Because, you know, anyone who's got kids knows that, you know, seeing your kids do well, especially if it's something you've got a common passion for, which we both have, is really special.
Exactly. And plus, you've been doing, obviously, commentary as well on btcc weekends throughout the support package, which to me seems, I don't know how to put it. I commentate online virtually, which I've always looked up to people such as yourself and the likes of David Addison, Tim Harvey, you name it. And I'm like, I don't really want to copy the lines you guys say in commentary, because it's like, you know, online's different because it's virtual and it's a game. Unless you guys do it literally on the real thing, or you've done it on the real thing yourself. So.
Yeah, it was great fun. I mean, I did it for 10 years, mainly ITV Sport, as you say, on the support races. So when I first started, to give you an idea of the period it was, the first ever race I commentated on for Motors TV, which were part of the ITV's package. I think those of us that are on this chat that remember Motors TV fondly, it was channel. You know, it didn't matter what form of motorsport. There's some real random stuff on there. You'd be watching like Kiwi, New Zealand jet boats or something like that at 3 in the morning. But then they had some really cool stuff as well. You know, I think, you know, Australian supercars on there at one point, a lot of GTs. Early days, they had things like GP3 on their way back. And I did mainly, for motors, I started doing the support races for British touring cars in 2003.
Yeah.
And the first race I commentated on was a Formula Renault race won by some bloke called Lewis Hamilton. So that wasn't bad stuff, was it? And funny enough, here's a little link with the ITV thing, is that one of the drivers in the same race, who I think ended up going out on the first lap because he tangled with someone, was one of the current commentators on the ITV is Phil Glue. Of course, you know, won the Clio Cup. So Phil was in that race. I'm just going to put my phone down so I can actually see a little bit better. But yeah, so that was great fun. I did that for a while. Initially with Ben Edwards, who we all know from Formula One, and it was Ben who actually got me involved in it, because I'd worked with Ben previously as an instructor at the race school at Brands Hatch. He was just finishing his racing career. A lot of people don't realise what a good race driver Ben was back in the day. And then obviously he got into commentary stuff, and he did Formula One for Eurosport, and then he did Indy cars, which a lot of people remember him for. And then all kinds of other things, touring cars, of course. And then more recently, he's been sort of back in the F1 fold. And Ben had been asked to do all of the races on the day. So he's doing touring cars and all the support races, which is a hell of a workload. Having done it myself, and you know from doing some commentary of the online stuff, it's, you know, it takes a lot more out of you, especially if you're doing it over a long period of time. And it just needed he needed an extra pair of hands, as it were, or an extra voice. God help him why he chose mine, but he did. Excuse me. And we started together for that first year or two, and then eventually it sort of morphed into where ITV then took all of the support races live, as they do now.
Yeah.
And I think, again, you know, one of the things that's so fabulous about BTCC and the support races is that if you're a real motorsport fan, which, let's be honest, all of us are, otherwise we wouldn't be, you know, so passionately involved in it, it's great. You can watch, obviously, touring cars, and you can watch the stars of the future in Formula 4 and, you know, previously Jeanette Juniors. And obviously there's a new junior series coming next year, I think it is, which I'm looking forward to seeing what that looks like. And I think certainly from my own experience with Jake, when he started in Jeanette Juniors, it was probably one of the races after touring cars that most people would watch a lot, because they're these youngsters that were hugely committed, some very talented drivers. You know, Jake and Tom Ingram were racing together in Jeanette Juniors at the same time, which is
it's mad because I remember seeing both of them, and I'll find the photo of what I have of Jake's Janetta and I'll send it across to you, which I still have. I saw Jake and, of course, Tingram race 2010 in the juniors at Croft, and you think, hang on a minute, these will be the start of the future of British touring cars, and look what they've achieved, especially, you know, what happened with Jake last season. You know, to finish where he finished, was it second last season? I can't remember.
Third, just behind Tom. Yeah, they were sort of battling over second. I don't know what happened. I can't remember the name of the bloke who won it. He seemed to have quite a good year last year.
Some guy yellow and blue. Some guy in another Napa car that my pal races with as well. Yeah. But
no, I mean,
but you know,
play to the juniors have been great from the perspective of not just that. If you look over the period, you know, people like Jamie Chadwick came through, George Gamble, Charlie Robertson. Sophia Flörsch raced in juniors. Lando, of course, was there. I was only talking about him today. I remember seeing this kid that looked about 6 years old who was driving a Jeanette Junior, and that was Lando when he first started. It's been a brilliant learning curve. And obviously, you look at not just Jeanette Juniors now. Freddie Slater's come through it last year as a real superstar, and there is definitely a star of the future. That boy, I'm sure, is going to go a very long way.
He's done well, and especially what he's done over in the likes of Abu Dhabi and places like that over the last couple of weekends. You know, in F4 over there, he's definitely going places. You've got Joseph Lowe that won the Aston Martin, whatever it was, as well.
Yeah.
And okay, fair play to people, the young kids. Or in Jake's case now, you know, look where Jake is in PTCC. You know, I would rate him quite a lot, and he will get a championship. Unfortunately, that guy in that Napa car is too quick, you know. But then,
well, one thing we all know about touring cars is it never stands still. Right. And if you look at it never does. One of the things we briefly touched on when we spoke before was there's some fairly big changes this year for the rules, and I think certainly for me it's taken a little while to get my head around it, but we will all, as we all do, inevitably once we see it happen for real at a race weekend, understand exactly what's going on. But I think there's three key areas that I've seen. That there's obviously a change to the qualifying format. There's also a change to the hybrid application, where they're now calling it hybrid boost, and then there's also a change in the way that the option tyres are going to be used over a race weekend. So for me, what I think that shows is that the one good thing with the organisers is, you know, they will say, right, okay, brilliant year, brilliant job by the guys at Napa Alliance. I still can't get used to calling them Alliance. I'm doing motorbase for the day, but you know, these are the things that so I actually followed a Napa van the other day. Couldn't keep up with it, obviously, even that was too fast. But no, it had Alliance. Say again.
There's no hybrid boost for you to catch up, was there?
No, definitely. I think it was just a little Peugeot van that was zooming around the corners. But anyway, but it had Alliance Auto Parts on there. So obviously that's the parent company. That's where the name comes from. But anyway, what I was making is that, you know, the guy. I know the guy, obviously, Jake drove for Motorbase in 21, and well, in fact, it is his very first touring car race with Motorbase where Dave Bartram was still there. But the point is I know guys like Ollie Collins and you know, some of the other guys there that have been an absolutely, you know, brilliant guys. Ollie's, I'd still consider Ollie a mate. You know, even though we're on the other side of the fence, as it were, now where we're competing against them. But you know, I've got a lot of respect for Ollie and the work that the team have done. You know, what they did very cleverly is that they sat down and they looked at the rules. If you think back to the end of 2021, when we were still running the ballast system in the cars, which we run for many years, that all of those cars on the grid had all been designed around that set of rules. So then at the end of 21, they went, okay, folks, we're now going to go hybrid. Get rid of the ballast boxes that sat in the passenger seat of the cars. Here's your kit. Off you go. Put it in your car, and let's go racing with hybrid. And it seemed that some teams and some cars suited that initial application better than others. And what I believe, and again, as I've got no sort of hard, fast evidence, your mate Robo might be able to tell me the truth on this one, but is that the guys and girls over the winter of 22, 23 sat down, completely, you know, re-engineered the front of the car especially, but the car as a whole, and the combination of some very, very good engineering, a lot of testing, because they had some, you know, really good budget behind them. Nothing wrong with that. That's if you can do it, that's what everyone needs. And of course, brilliant drivers. You know, all 4 drivers in there are very talented. I think, you know, as biased as I am towards Jake, and I don't mind admitting it, I still, you can't have anything but respect for Ash. He's done a fabulous job. But also, you know, I guess you take from Jake's perspective, you say, look, you know, last year, if you think there was probably only a few occasions where people raced head to head with Ash and beat him, and you know, Jake was one of them who did that. Did that Alton a couple of times. He did it at Knockhill. Tom did it as well, obviously. But a lot of the times, it was you know, the Ash Sutton show, which is down to them doing a brilliant job.
I'm not being funny, Simon, but between you and I, when I saw you at Snetterton on the Saturday, I said to myself, and okay, I was probably wearing a Napa top because obviously with my pal down road one.
Yeah.
But then ultimately, come the Sunday, how quick Jake was reeling in Ash during race 1 and race 2. Yeah. I honestly thought the BMW was going to get a race win.
Yeah.
No, that's no disrespect. That's nothing to do with Jake. That's nothing to do with you guys. But I honestly thought, hang on a minute, Napa dominated every single round up until Snetterton.
Yeah.
And the BMW has its strengths at circuits. You know it does. We all know itself. But when I saw Jake getting very close to Ash Sutton in race 1 and race 2 at Snetterton, I honestly thought, here we go. You know, now's the time to say, right, it's between 2 top class teams in British touring cars.
Yeah.
You know, because WSR been in it a long time, Napa / Alliance / Motorbase, whatever you want to call them, they've been there same sort of level.
Yeah.
But then I was kind of thinking that BMW is bloody quick, because it is. And, and like you said, Jake beat him twice at Alton Park. Ash made stupid mistakes at race 3 at Alton and Croft. And it was like, you know, it's game on.
Yeah. It was exciting to watch. I think, you know, again, taking my Jake Hill hat off for a minute, what I think all of us want to see is no, but what I'm saying, what I think as an from an objective point of view, you want to see, you know, a mixture of drivers and teams winning. You know, it's the most exciting motorsport is when you've got complete unpredictability. Going back to what we were saying earlier about the rule changes.
Yeah, of course.
It sounds like this should, if it works the way everyone anticipates, it should make a difference. And yeah, if you don't mind me just talking about it for a minute, because I think there's probably a few people that have got a bit of an idea of it, but maybe not quite understood it fully yet. And I don't profess to be, you know, completely an expert on it, but I've got a reasonable good idea.
It's like me with
obviously I've got a contact who knows a thing or two about driving touring cars, so he's quite helpful actually. So firstly, the qualifying thing, I think that's quite easy to understand. If anyone's ever watched Indy cars, You know, the majority of the IndyCar races.
There's a guy in my comment, Rich Holt or Hoyt, however I pronounce his surname. He knows a lot about it.
Rich knows a lot about everything. He is Mr. Motorsport. So,
you know, like you said to him the other day, he is Mr. Motorsport. So, good evening, Rich. Good evening, everyone. Welcome in.
Good evening, Rich. Happy birthday to your little girl. I don't know if it was today or yesterday, but anyway.
Back on Simon. Sorry to interrupt about that, but I thought I'd give a shout out, you know, because everyone knows, you know.
Yeah, Rich is a good lad. He's a really good lad and super passionate. Anyway, so IndyCars, certainly on the road courses, I think the street courses, they basically split the grid into two halves. One half the grid goes out qualified, then the other one qualifies. The top half then progresses through to the next stage, and then they have a top 6 shootout. And that's basically what we're going to be doing. So if you take maximum this year, we'll have 27 cars on the grid, from my understanding. I think it's still debatable. There's a couple that are still not 100% confirmed. But let's think positively.
When it isn't it, so it is what it is.
Yeah, there's a couple that may or may not be there. But, you know, let's say we've got, let's make it a round number. So we've got 26 on the grid. You know, at the end of FP2, they take the odd numbers, so drivers that finish first, third, fifth, seventh, etc., and then the even numbers, 2, 4, 6, and then those are the two groups. They then go out for, I think, Rich will probably know, but I think it's 20 minutes, and at the end of that, the top 6 drivers in each of those groups progresses through to the next stage, and then at the end of that session, there's a top 6 shootout for the first 6 places on the grid. Brilliant, you know. It's like a lot of pressure, short but punchy sessions with, you know, a real mix up of grids. Somebody asked me, how do they decide which of the 2 sessions goes when? I think they're going to vary it. So sometimes it will be the odds go first and the evens go first, depending on where you are. On top of that, then what will happen is at the end of each of the sessions. So if you've got the 2 sessions, so that you've got Group A and Group B, let's call them. So Group A, and the fastest driver in that session does a 121.4, and then in Group B, the fastest driver does a 121.6. Then the drivers in Group A are going to be effectively the faster session. So you'd have, you know, the quickest driver there would be at the top of the grid, and then the quickest driver in the other group would be second and third and fourth. So it splits it that way. So that's going to be cool. I think we've got.
I'm looking forward to that. You know, it's going to spice the racing.
Yeah.
And then a bit of an unknown factor with race 1 every weekend. You know, you might get the likes of, I don't know, Sam Osborne last season came on leaps and bounds in that Focus. So you never know, if he's there this year, it might give him beneficiary of a doubt to say, look at me. You know, look at what I did last season.
Exactly.
To do what
that. And I think for me, sorry, I was leaning my phone on my laptop and it started playing something in the background. I wonder what it was.
That's why my phone's on my tripod on a selfie stick.
Yeah, well, I was trying to be too clever of my own good. But then, so that's the first thing. The second thing is the hybrid boost. So obviously we've had this situation with hybrid where you get more or less hybrid depending on where you are in the championship and where you finish race 1 and 2. And this time it's going to be it was roughly 30 brake horsepower when you hit the button and the little blue light flashes. That's going to be combined with additional boost. So you're going to have roughly 60 brake horsepower. So 30 from the hybrid and 30 I think we're going to get from the boost. So 60 brake should make a bigger difference. Remember, these are quite heavy cars. 1,300 odd kilos. Yeah. So it's not like a Formula Ford or a Formula 4 or something where you got a light car where that amount of power would make a big difference. This should make a bigger dent. And then the final one, which a lot of people weren't aware of, is the rule regarding option tyres. So let's say, for example, your mate Dan Rowbottom gets pole position. Yeah. He starts race 1 on soft tyres because they're the quickest tyres usually, and he goes off and he wins race 1. The rules are now, then, if you're running, let's say in this instance, let's say SNET last year, you had all 3 options. You had the soft, medium and hard. Yeah. So the drivers had to use in one of the races. Yeah. So let's say Dan goes out and wins race 1 on soft tyres. For race 2, he then has to use the hardest available tyre, which is now the hard tyre. So he has to go from soft to hard. So what that means is you don't get a situation where, for example, with Ash last year, quite often he was as quick on a medium tyre as he was on a soft tyre. So, you know, an Ash Sutton and an Alliance Ford, soft or medium tyre, was ballistically fast. Ash Sutton on a hard tyre wouldn't be as quick, as good as the car and as good as Ash is. So that should shake it up a little bit. It will get mixture of tyre strategies, mixture of boost, and obviously the grid situation. And we've got some changes going. I think there's a few changes that I'm aware of that I can't say anything about, but with certain drivers in certain teams. But I mean, obviously, I know obviously that the Alliance guys are all the same, the Accelerate guys are all the same. There's going to be one change. Obviously, everyone saw that Steve Jelly's left the WSR fold, which is a great shame because excellent driver and the nicest bloke you could ever wish to meet. So we're going to miss having Steve around, even though I didn't like the fact that he would regularly get undressed in the corner of the truck and I'd be basically his bare backside staring at me, which is, nobody needs that, do they, Andy? Let's be honest. That's not my idea of a Sunday afternoon. So anyway, so I think, somebody I saw a little comment in the sections down here. Somebody said, what do you reckon is going to happen with the qualifying, etc. I think we should see more overtaking. Hi, Defo, how are you, mate? Good to see you. And definitely some surprising results. We want to see. Now, I personally would like to see Jake Hill win every race and win a championship by September. That's probably not going to happen. But let's take one,
mate. You never know, right? I've always said this about people. I have a lot. Okay, everyone knows my pal Dan Robot, and I have a lot of respect for him. But I support him, but I support everyone on that grid because they have every single right to be there. You know, you don't have to be a race winner. You have every single right to be on the grid. If you've got the budget, you've got the sponsors, you have every right to be there.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what I think also has happened now is if you look at the last, let's say 3 years, for example, what's happened now is you've got a group of drivers that have become the new generation, of real star drivers. So, the last 2 years, it's been the same 4 drivers in the top 4. It's been Ash, Tom, Jake, and Colin in slightly different orders, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Last year, obviously, was Ash. The year before was Tom. Jake and Colin 3rd and 4th. But you've also got Josh Cook up there. You've got Dan Camish up there. You've got Rory Butcher up there. You've got your mate Robo up there. They're to me, those to me are the elite drivers. And then there's a big chunk of extremely good drivers.
They're the caliber of champions, aren't they? But yes, okay, we've got the likes of Ash Sutton. That's probably going to go for a 5th title this year. Colin Turkington wants a 5th title. But like you say, you've got the likes of Rory Butcher and people like that. That, to me, that shows the next caliber of champions that are worthy of trying to go for it. Jake himself. I remember seeing Jake do probably how many races I've seen. And when I seen him win at Croft in 2021, it was like, this kid's going to go places. And he has gone places. But what makes me surprised, and this is no disrespect, is how many touring car drivers have become parents over the last year.
Yeah, it seems to be something in the water, doesn't it? I think that what you realise is here's an interesting little stat. Jake and Ash are actually only 3 weeks apart in terms of their birthday.
Really?
They were both born in 1994. Ash has just had his birthday. Jake's is in 3 weeks. So they both turned 30 within 3 weeks of each other.
Wow.
So, and obviously Tom's a few months older. He was 30 in August, I think. And obviously, Robo, I think, what's Robo, 34, 35, something like that now?
35 next month.
35, yeah.
He's
right old bugger he is, isn't he?
Well, you can call me that because he's 5 months older than I am.
Trust me, if we're going to be talking about old buggers, I win that game every time. So I'm a granddad now, obviously. But yeah, Rich has just pointed out that Jake's birthday is shared with Nicky Lauda, 22nd of February. So, so there you go. But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? That you know, somebody's asked another question. Are you surprised we've seen a couple of front-running drivers leave the championship, move on to other series? Well, I think the bottom line, I think probably Defin's talking about guys like Dan Lloyd moving away and Jack Patel and people like that. And there was somebody else as well. I can't remember who the other one was. There was a couple of yeah, exactly. A combination of factors. You know, at the end of the day, every racing driver wants to win, and if you're not able to get yourself into a winning team, car, whatever it might be, in touring cars, which, let's be honest, if everybody on here was to write down the list of the most likely driver team combinations, pretty much everyone will probably come up with the same ones that are going to be winning, because there's evidence to prove it. It's WSR, it's Alliance, it's Accelerate, it's Toyota. The factory teams are usually the strongest. Not always, but in history. PowerMax were mega last year. They did a brilliant job, and obviously they've got two of their drivers.
Where did their speed come from last season? Because that, you know, that Astra, I've always said it's outdated. It's a car that's never, okay, I don't want to sound rude because I've been a fan of 25 years of British touring cars this year, but that car came on leaps and bounds, and you've got the FK Civic Type R. That's now in its probably how many years with the Vauxhall Astra?
Well, let's think. That's been out since 2018, I think, was the FK8.
Yeah.
It was its first year when Cambridge came in with Matt, and obviously then the BTC as it was, and then obviously one Starline, goodness knows what else had been called.
Yeah.
At least it's not named after. At least it's not named after an app for a credit card, like certain Formula One team.
Yeah, exactly.
That's ridiculous.
Don't get me started on that. I saw that today and I thought, why would you call that a team?
Well, somebody's, I think the phrase overthinking. There's a question that came out. Tracy Hickley asked the question, what's been the hardest race to watch? Well, certainly I think, you know, when you're watching a race where, in the case, to answer the question most recently, Silverstone last year, Jake wins race 1 through, you know, judicious tyre choice. Great start to race 2, was driving away from everybody, and then unfortunately we had a mechanical issue and the car just plummeted down the order and finished 20th, I think. And that was pretty tough because two things. One is obviously that was looking like a pretty solid second win of the day, which is, you know, what everyone does it for, but also that pretty much put Jake out of any mathematical chance of being able to challenge for the championship. And the goal was, and it is this year, is to go into the last round with a realistic, even some sort of a chance of being able to potentially still win the championship. And obviously that was the case the previous 2 years. So that was, I would say that's probably the most difficult one I've watched in recent years. But you know, over the years, being involved when your family are racing, when it's your son in my case, it's constantly hard. Anyone who's ever seen me in a garage over a race weekend, and sometimes ITV just for comedy value show me jumping up and down like a complete fool. That's just me. It's not direct
on ITV, mate. We've seen it completely. 1 minute.
Well, at the end of the day, I'm hugely passionate. I worked really hard. I have worked and still do work really hard to help, you know, Jake with all of his personal partners, sponsors, let's call them. And it's not been easy. It still isn't. But it's because I believe completely, obviously, that he's got the ability to do what he's doing, and B, you know, I know how much it means to me as well. So it's been quite entertaining watching myself back sometimes. Like, what do you look like? You
well, I've always seen when it's like when Jake's fighting for the lead and it's like he overtakes and he you know, he goes and like literally overtakes. I can see you literally fist pump in the air, literally a scream on the camera saying, "Come on, let's do this." And then when he's not done so well, go on. Crack on.
Yeah, so I was going to say, it's not ever directed at anyone. I've learned a long time ago to walk away when it goes wrong. You know, it happens where maybe there's been contact with another driver. You know, sometimes it's Jake's fault, sometimes it's the other driver's fault, sometimes it's just, let's call it a racing accident. But these things happen.
Sometimes it doesn't go your way because, like you say, with the mechanical fault that he had at Silverstone in race 2 last year, you know, you can't always say it's the driver. It could be the car. The car could have an issue throughout the race weekend, and people say, "Well, hang on a minute, why has this happened?" But then you guys know, Jake knows, etc. Ash knows, Dan knows, you name it. people know how to overcome that fear. And I watch Robo 9 times out of 10, and half the time when he starts, say for example, he gets pole position or he's leading the race if it was reverse grid, I half the time can't look at the TV because I'm like, please don't mess up, please don't mess up, because for some,
you just want it to go well.
Yeah,
you just want it to go well for your driver, don't you?
Very well, and I've seen, like I say, when I've seen Jake race as well, like I said to you about Snetterton last year, you know, I was kind of hoping that the Laser Tools BM was going to say, you know what, Ash, you've had your glory at the minute, let me have a chance.
Yeah, well, you know, it works itself out. If you look at the previous year, you know, in 2022, you know, Jake and Ash finished a point apart at the end of a 30 race series. There's 1 point in it. They both won 3 races. I think Jake had 13 podiums, Ash had 12. You know, it was so that's what that 22 year was, you know, and Tom only won it at the last round by 13 points, which again in the great scheme of things is nothing much, is it? You know, Colin was in with a shout. If you remember, Colin was leading the championship for quite a long time in 22, and then a disastrous weekend at Snet. We got Silverstone, rather, we got taken out in race 1, and then he got more damage in race 2, I think it was, and that completely scuppered his championship chances. And that's the nature of the beast, isn't it? So yeah. So just looking at some of the other questions that we've got on here, just to want to see, make sure we can cover a few of those. Sheila Kersley asked, where would be the next best championship to go after the Junior Saloon to the next step towards some racing BTCC? Ultimately, it's a great question. Is the Junior Saloons are brilliant because it gives the drivers a chance to really learn their craft in some very competitive cars, fairly equal cars from my understanding. And then I think the next stage up, obviously, I've seen is a young lad called Harry Hickton who's racing in the mini challenge at the moment. It came from the Junior Saloons, and I think Max is the other guy. I can't remember his surname. His brain's gone. Sorry, I'm old. That's what happens. I forget things. But yeah, the mini challenge is good because again, it's a slightly higher profile. But I guess it depends. You know, if you're going to go to touring cars, it always used to be Clio Cup was the immediate one before it, and I guess the JCW minis are sort of fulfilling that. But in my personal experience is, somebody gave me a great bit of advice: is whatever you race in, try and make sure that you can be competitive enough to win. So if you haven't got the budget to race in, let's say, the JCW minis, but you can get a budget together to race in the mini challenge or something else, go and do that, do well. When you're then talking to sponsors and you're talking to people and they say, how'd you get on last year? Well, I won 5 races and 4 pole positions, you know, 10 podiums. Most sponsors, that not many are that knowledgeable about motorsport that they know all the different series. Some, they just love motorsport. They want to help you. So that, I think, is probably a good thing to consider, because looking at what's the most competitive thing I can get, that's probably the honest answer. And then a couple of other quick questions, and then we'll go back to what we're chatting about. Nathan, hello Nathan Burton is a good lad. He said if they get the laser beamer right, it looks like he's going to be tough to compete with. Well, that's the plan. That's what we're doing. Tiffin asked, do I miss my commentating? Yes and no. Yes, I do, because it was good fun. My mate Richard John Neal, who I did it with for a lot of years, is the loveliest bloke in the world, and B, he's bloody good at what he does. I'll tell you a very quick story about Richard and I commentating together at Snetterton in about, let me think, what it had been, about 2012, 2013. Josh Cook was racing in the Clios, winning a lot of races. And the day before, on the Saturday at Snet, Jake won a round of the G55s. In fact, it was his first win in 2012, would have been, yes, thinking about it. And, you know, you mentioned earlier, Andy, about me getting overexcited and screaming and shouting. Well, I got a bit overexcited, and I was screaming at the top of my voice that I'd lost my voice slightly. So when I was commentating on Sunday, I sounded a bit croaky. Now, as we all know, you talk a bit like that when you've got a sore throat, which is fine if you're at home. But when you're actually commentating on the telly, it's probably not ideal. And as I was commentating, the camera cut away to a contact between Josh and another driver, and I immediately went, and that's Josh Cook. But unfortunately, it didn't come out as Josh Cook. It came out as something else. Oh, no. And just in case there's any youngsters listening, I won't say the exact words, but you can probably gather what it was. It sounds a bit like Cook. but it wasn't good. Now, Richard, my mate Richard, now who's standing next to me when I'm commentating, absolutely falls about laughing. He's obviously had to cover his microphone up because he's laughing so much. In my ears, I can hear all the crew also laughing, which now means I'm completely aware of the fact I've just said that word on live TV, and there's no one to help me out of it. So I had to compose myself, carry on commentating until Richard had eventually joined back in, and I then had to go and find Josh and apologise to him for calling him something inappropriate live on TV. And he said it's fine. He said my sponsors thought it was great, so he was all right with it. Wow. So yes, I do miss it. But one of the main reasons that I moved away from it was that was a point where Jake was just getting into touring cars, and I needed to focus on looking after his sponsors, which has always been my sort of job, if you like, over the weekend. So it's really been fun. So Rich has asked me, do I fancy getting in a crazy car? Absolutely not. Can't think of anything I'd least like to do. Get in a crazy car. If anyone's ever seen me race a go-kart, you'll know why I'm rubbish at it.
You don't want to slot Robo and Michael Crease off their perks and have a bit of a banter with them.
I'll leave those crazy young fools to it. Let them get on with it. They're welcome to it. So it's great fun to watch. I saw the one, I think it was at Snet early in the year when Jake had a go in it, and it ended up where they started off with a course that had been marked out with cones, and by the end there was just one cone in the middle of the course that Tom Chilton, Jake, and I think Jack Buttell all going round in a big circle, and that was about it. So
it's crazy because I've seen a few of what the crazy car. I've not seen it physically, but seen a few videos of it, and I've seen like Robo getting a bit frustrated, giving like the two fingers and going, "Why me for?" and stuff like that. And it's just it's what breaks the bit of like after a Saturday bit of I don't class Saturday as hectic because like I saw you at Snetterton on a Saturday last year, and I normally make a weekend of Snetterton. I go from Cumbria to Norfolk for the weekend. I think it's fabulous. I think I went Friday, Saturday, Sunday last year, whereas when I saw you at Croft, I was only there for race day because I'm only an hour and a half away. So it's like I can get away with what I do. But to see what the drivers are like throughout the Saturday compared to the Sunday where they've got to think about racing and stuff like that, it's no disrespect, but I find it more like you can approach people like such as yourself. I could still approach you on a Sunday and say, all right, mate, how you doing? How's things? But the atmosphere is kind of like more relaxed in my opinion. But maybe
completely. I think most people on a Sunday that are involved with a driver or with a team have got a lot of people to try. I mean, to give you an idea of my typical Sunday at a touring car meeting, I get there fairly early, about 7ish, something like that. We've got a number of guests that are arriving, so we need to obviously either meet them at the gate, give them their tickets, or escort them in. Sometimes we've got a buggy or something we can give people a lift, depending on the venue and how many people we've got. And then we've had this year, we're going to have a hospitality unit with potentially maybe 100 people in it. So we've got a lot of people to look after. And I'm actually going back to my roots a little bit, and I'm going to be doing the sort of hosting of it and doing some Q&As and interviewing Jake and interviewing Mark Blundell and talking to some of the guests. So it should be good fun. But it means between that, showing people around the car, getting them on the grid, and then obviously there's a bit in the middle where there's actually some racing going on that I need to sort of pay attention to and watch Jake do his thing. But it's great. Tracy Hickley asked a question. Jake was on for a 3-race win last year. Alton, I guess we're talking about. Do you think anyone will do it this year? Well, I think because of these new regs, it's going to be much tougher because you're going to have different tyre choices for different races, and you're going to have a lot of a mix up for that and the hybrid boost. So I'd be surprised, but you never say never. I didn't think anyone was going to do it last year. There was a point where Jake was running second behind Colin, and Colin locked up, and I thought, hello, we might be on for this. But it still was. It's interesting. A little stat for you. I love my stats. Is that the last 2 seasons, the highest point scoring driver in any individual weekend was Jake. So he did it at Knockhill in 2022, 59 points. And then last year, jointly with Ash and Jake both had a remarkable 62 points in a weekend. When you think there's a maximum of 67 available,
of course, yeah.
That's a hell of a point score. So Ash did it at Brands, where he had 2 wins, a second, 3 fastest laps. And Jake did it Alton, where he had 2 wins, a second, and 3 fastest laps. So you know, it would have been nice just to get that one more point, just to get something over Ash last year. But never mind. Maybe this year, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, I better not invite him as a guest. He might say, "Well, you know, people are talking about me. Here we go." We're not.
Yeah.
But, no. But as I say, Simon, touring cars for me, like I say, I've been following for 25 years this year. It kind of stems quite a lot of massive following. You know, you've got yourselves like partnered up with Mark Blundell, which, you know, that must be a dream come true for yourselves, because of a guy that's been like in Formula One and whatever he's done, and even raced btcc, and I was Jake's teammate in 2019.
But
for something like,
it was a result. Yeah, it was a result of that. That's really what got Mark and Jake became good friends. You know, Mark, by his own admission, you know, didn't really get on very well with a touring car. It just wasn't his cup of tea. You know, let's not forget this guy. To just put a bit of context to Mark Blundell, is that the first time he got on a podium in Formula One in 1993, he was on the podium with Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost. So that is as cool as it gets in terms of, you know, greatest drivers of all time, 2 of the greatest drivers ever. Then the next time we got on the podium was on the podium with Michael Schumacher and Damon Hill. So it's just sort of, you know, pretty impressive stuff when you look at it from that perspective. So Mark, but on a personal level, Mark is he's become a very, very big supporter of Jake. He's his manager now, as well as actually running the team. So as you might know, with MBP is the parent company, Mark Blundell Partners, and they have drivers like Mike Conway, is obviously for world champion in you know, WEC and won Le Mans. Tom Blomqvist, who's now doing IndyCars this year. You know, he's won Daytona the last couple of years. They've also got Tatiana Calderon, who's obviously racing F2, and she's racing in sports cars this year. Jake Hughes is a Formula E driver for McLaren, of course. These are the guys, that, you know, guys and girls that are being managed by Mark. So to be part of that stable is very special. You know, beyond 2024, you know, who knows what may happen, but you know, there's options there with Mark's contacts that if Jake wanted to do something outside of touring cars, you know, one of his childhood ambitions is to race at Le Mans, so that may be something that he does in the future. You know, he's got a very specific goal this year, which is to try and, you know, challenge for the championship, and you know, if things go to plan, who knows? Yeah, exactly. You know, let's see what happens. It's going to be, as I said, the new rules are going to throw some interesting ideas up. I know certainly WSR are working very hard over the winter to develop the car and come back with a stronger package than last year. I'm sure all of the other top teams will be the same. If the rumours I've heard are true about some of the teams, there should be some interesting driver lineups next year as well. So let's see. Can't wait. Is it April yet? Can we have a go? Can we go and watch some racing?
I wish it was, mate. I wish it was April, because I'm forever getting withdrawal symptoms. I'm forever trying to see what's going on in the world and doing what I do with these live videos, and especially having you on tonight. You know, it helps me get through the boredom. You know what I mean? It's like,
I'm glad to help, Andy. I'm glad to help.
Well, to be fair, Simon, I'm actually really glad, because, you know, you're actually the first proper guest of the year, and when I come and see you this year, just bear with me 1 second. These guys come on.
Let's have a look at some questions while Andy's going off to do whatever he's got to do. Yeah, there's going to be some interesting announcements like that Rich has mentioned. Tracy's asked, who would you like as Jake's teammate? Well, obviously, 2 of them are going to be the same as last year, Adam Morgan and Colin Turkington, which is brilliant, because on a personal level, they're great guys. You know, Colin is an absolute legend. In my opinion, the best driver of his generation. You know, for the previous 10 years, until some bloke Sutton came along. I think he was the standout driver. And he still is. You know, we obviously get access to working closely with Colin, and is the ultimate professional. And you know, when everything works the way he wants it to, is as fast, if not faster, than anyone. You know, you watch him when if he gets a pole position, he just disappears up the road and he's gone. He's that level that he's got, and I've no doubt that he's going to be as competitive this year as he's always been. Adam, again, you know, I think he was finding his feet last year a bit with WSI, some great results.
Yeah, I think because obviously I've been watching the On the Limit series this time round.
Good fun.
And it's been good so far, but then from what I've seen, Adam's slowly adapting, not having to worry about running the car, getting stuff for the car. He knows that car quite well because he ran it for 2 years. And, you know, for him to go into the works drive at WSR, when I realised that's where he was going to go, I thought, this is going to be great for him because this is exactly what he's dreamed of since he come into touring cars. And let's see what happens this year. You know,
I think he'll be stronger this year than he was last year. I don't think he didn't have a bad year last year, but you know, he's regularly won races in previous years. And obviously, any racing driver, look at, you know, two drivers that spring to mind last year, Adam and also Josh Cook, that didn't win races that you would have expected them to. You know, obviously with Josh,
Josh would have done last year.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I know there was a bit of controversy in Jake's win at Brands at the last round. He, you know, took a bit of a spectacular approach to getting past. There was.
I saw that and I thought, wait a minute, that's going to get pinged for track limits in a minute, because of how controversial track limits was throughout the season as well.
Well, track limits, I think, is I'm not going to use the word, but it rhymes with Rolex. So basically,
you can use what you want in these live videos. I swear quite a bit on them.
everyone that's on this chat will agree with me on this. Doesn't matter who you support. At some point, somebody's going to come off on the wrong side of a track limits infringement. Whether it's Jake, whether it's Ash, whether it's whoever, it doesn't matter who it is, because racing drivers are going to push to the limit. You know, when I used to be an average racing driver, but I was trying my hardest, and occasionally you'd run wide, you'd touch the grass or you'd run over a curb. And in those days, when I was racing 20 plus years ago, it was just the penalty was you'd run wide, you'd probably lose time. Now, obviously, tracks have evolved, the curbs have evolved, a lot of the runoffs evolved. In my humble opinion, and it is just my opinion, I think most of the track limit stuff is A, it's inconsistent, which is the biggest problem. B, in most cases, it's not actually hurting the driver, or it's not putting them at risk or putting the marshals at risk, right? It's actually just potentially oversimplifying it, but it might damage the grass a little bit. That might be the problem. So one of my biggest bugbears is, for example, at Donington, when we went to the Grand Prix circuit this year for the first time in 20 plus years, you know, there was these tyre stacks at the chicane.
Well, as you know, on Twitter, me and you had a bit of a debate about that, because I said it's going to damage cars, and it's probably going to be, how do you know? It's just like I said, it's strapped. We said it was strapped down, and if a car hits that at speed, it's going to do more damage to a car. The car's going to probably fling left, right, and centre. If it flings back onto the racing line and a car doesn't see it because they're unsighted trying to make a move at the chicane at Donington, it causes a massive accident. And I had to be very careful what I had to tell you because of how I felt. Because
I think we're all the same. We're all passionate about the sport. We love to see hard racing and fair racing. You know, like I say, there's some of the rules. Sometimes it works for you, sometimes it works against you. I'm not saying Jake's perfect. He's done some stuff where people go, what about this? Yeah, absolutely. But he's a hard racer. So is Ash. So is Tom. So is Dan. So all of these guys and girls are. They're brilliant racing drivers. And they will push to the limit. And they'll take the mickey sometimes because that's what they do. And the problem is with track limits is I think most of the time you look at it, you go, really? Is it actually creating a negative? Is it a dangerous environment where somebody cuts a curb or runs a little bit wider? Probably not. There are certain situations they have. But the other thing is, like, going back to the tyre stack theme. Now, we had a situation in race 3 where Adam clipped the tyres. Then there was another driver in between Adam and Jake. Jake was onside. He then hit the tyres, did loads of damage to his car, and was fortunate to finish the race. But the point was, had that tyre stack bounced up in the air, it could have gone through the screen of the car, certainly gone into the screen.
That's why I had that debate with you on Twitter about it, because
exactly. To me, it's just unnecessarily dangerous. there must be a better way of doing it. That's my point. And the same with track limits. There must be a better way.
Look what happened when Robo hits it. Robo hits it, and unfortunately damaged his car.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly. And
it was like, well, hang on a minute.
Because of it.
Hang on a minute. It's like Dan wrecks his car. Jake gets away with it. Aaron Taylor Smith gets away with it. What's next? Someone's going to get that tyre stack or tyre bundle, whatever, through the windscreen, or 10 times worse, cause a massive, colossal clusterfuck, excuse the language.
Yeah.
But that's...
And think back to a few years ago, before single seaters had halos. You know, that's the sort of thing that could cause the worst possible sort of injury. Exactly. You know. And anyway, so I'm going to climb off my high horse about track limits and tyre stacks. So let's go. Let's finish off on a positive, because the most exciting thing for me this year is that I genuinely think we've got maybe between 6 and 10 drivers that could challenge for the championship this year. At least 4 or 5 different teams, and ultimately, you know, we want to see some close, hard racing. The rules are definitely going to shake things up. I'm confident, you know, Jake and his colleagues at BMW, at WSR BMW and MB Motorsport are going to be competitive. You know, I'm sure about that, as will Ford, as will Hyundai, as will Toyota, as will Vauxhall. I think the unknowns really are, you know, the new people that are coming in with the Seats, you know, Restart, and I think Cole Bordy, I'm not sure. And obviously the other thing is there hasn't been much noise around the One Motorsport guys as to whether they're doing something or not. So yeah, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting, and on top of which, on a personal level, you know, somebody mentioned in here earlier about enjoying watching Jake race the Capri at Goodwood and the Skyline up the hill. He's doing more of the same this year. He's got some good stuff going on at the Goodwood events, plus a couple of other things yet to be announced. But one of the things that he enjoyed the most last year was racing the Laurent Aiello 1999 championship winning Primera. Now you've been following this for 25 years. Yeah.
You know that when I saw he was going to, when I saw on his social media he was going to be racing that, I was like, wow, that's a car that I've seen race from my heyday of btcc. Stick him in, as I'm going to say, stick Jake in anything, he will literally race the nuts off it.
Yeah. I think, you know, the thing is, firstly, he just loves driving racing cars, and you know, and that's I know that sounds obvious, because surely doesn't everybody, but then I think the fact he's grown up in an environment where he just was so desperate to drive anything when we were really struggling to get him up the ladder, that he took whatever was going and adapted to it. And I think, you know, when you look at the difference, like last year, for example, just to give you a sort of a taster of that, he did 46 races in 12 different cars at 14 circuits in 4 different countries. You know, so it was, and he raced a Formula One car at the end of the year in Dubai. He raced obviously a sports car in a little Lotus. Raced the touring cars we just talked about. Skyline. Raced a 1954 HWM at Goodwood. So yeah, he was so lucky. He loved doing what he was doing. But what I guess it highlights is that, you know, for one of the younger drivers that's out there in that kind of racing, he's just got his head round jumping in anything and getting on with it. And as a fan, and obviously above everything else, I'm a fan. Watching, like in the Capri, for example, just being drifted round Goodwood, that's great fun. It puts a smile on your face, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's like I was lucky to visit Goodwood itself, the circuit, in June last year. Obviously, there was a track day going on at the time when I visited, but to see that circuit and realise how many people actually go and race there, it was like, wow, this is unreal.
Yeah, it's exciting. Diffin asked me if I'd like to race some classics. if I could race anything again, I'd love to have a go in some some older stuff. That would be really good fun. But my ambition before I'm completely old and decrepit, I know I'm pretty old and decrepit, but before I'm completely over the hill, is to do a race with Jake in something, in a 2-driver race in some sort of a sports car would be great fun. So not a crazy car, Rich Hoyt, just in case you're still listening. Definitely not one of those bloody things.
No, what we're going to do, we're going to get you in one of them crazy cars. I'm going to make sure they literally don't hold.
I'll do it. I'll do it on one condition, which is that we get all the other dads to do it as well, the other racing dads that are there. So
we know for a fact, right? I'm gonna tell you this now. We know for a fact a certain Sutton, not Ash, the other one, will probably be like, oh, look at me, I'm competitive. I'll be like my son here. But no, I think what we should.
I'll take Warren on at that. That would be quite good fun, I think. The trouble is, if you look. Sorry, Andy. If you look at it, if Ricky's racing again this year, then they've got bloody Rod Collard to race against, which I don't really want to be doing that.
Oh,
Sharon, by the way. Rob and I actually first met each other in 1998 when Rob had been racing in Formula Ford, and the previous year I raced in Formula Renault. You asked me earlier about my racing career. That was when I drove for Menu Motorsport, drove for Alain Menu in '97, which was good fun. And then it was driving a chassis called a Miguel, which obviously most people know because they've done, Formula BMW. They built those chassis for that, and obviously subsequently lots of other things. I think they did Formula 4 originally was Miguel as well. But anyway, so we went out to France, not together. We didn't know each other at this point, and tested the new cars for Formula Renault and Formula Ford at Manicourt, where they served the French Grand Prix, and then just got chatting to each other. And on the way back, we got stranded because of high seas, getting the ferry before the Channel Tunnel was a thing, and basically ended up sitting in the departure lounge, drinking far too much and talking a load of rubbish, and became best mates. So yeah, that's how I know Rob all those years back. And he actually, when Jake was in, you mentioned about watching Jake and Jeanette Juniors. The last round of the championship, he was in with a shout of winning it. Him and Tom were fighting for the championship, and we really were struggling for budget. I mean, to the point where I remember I had 4 credit cards, one to pay for each tyre. That's the only way I could pay for it, was by putting one to each credit card. And so, and Rob and Andy Nee and Jason Plato and who else? Maxi Jazz, God rest his soul, all put a hand in their pocket and helped out, get him out for the last race. So that was a sort of community that was going on back there. So yeah, it was.
That just shows how much the motorsport community actually come together, though, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the one thing I love about it. There's when I go, some people who've been involved in motorsport for a long time will go up to the Autosport shows. Oh, it's the same every year. I've been there, and but I love it. I love the fact that I go and see so many friendly faces and so many, few not so friendly ones, but mainly friendly ones. But you catch up with not just people that are worked in the industry, but also that are mates, and it's a lovely experience. Sharon, I'm glad Sam liked the bobble hat. That's good news. So pleased with that. But yeah, anyway, so listen, I'm gonna have to dive off in a sec, Andy. Got a bit of work to do, unfortunately.
Simon, this is what I was about to show you. When I see you as a guest for coming on, I will give you one of these.
Wonderful.
They are one of our stickers. I always say that to the guests because it's a gratitude for giving up your time and also giving us a very good insight. But thank you so much for coming on this evening. I don't know.
To catch up with you, and obviously everyone that's been on tonight. Thank you so much for all your questions and for taking the time to listen to this old man talk a load of rubbish about racing cars.
You're only 21, mate. My Jen's laughing at you at the minute. Jen's actually in the same room. I'll actually.
Hi.
Hello, Jen.
Yeah.
How are you?
But yeah,
she's the technical genius behind this, isn't she, Andy? Come on, own up. She's the one that makes it all happen.
Yeah. You've seen my stuff on social media. That Jen's the main reason why I do this. You guys get the content. You come on as a guest. It's all thanks to her to give me the courage. when I met you at Snetterton last year, you know, I wanted to get to know you more, and then now that we've, you know, had this conversation, may it continue, mate. And you're more than welcome to come back on any time and try and twist Jake down if he's not too busy being a dad.
He's a bit busy at the moment, as you say, but maybe what we'll do, maybe mid-season, we'll have a bit of a half-time sort of catch-up and see how we're getting on with it.
Why not? More than welcome to, mate.
And anyone who's on here today and we've not had a chance to say hello in person, if you're at a race meeting, just come and say hello, because I'm always happy to have a chat. So it might be Sunday, as I said, I might be a bit busy, but certainly if it's a Saturday, I'll always got 5 minutes to
catch up on Saturday. I'll definitely come and see you on Saturday in May at Snetterton to give you.
Can't wait. Get me stick.
I'm looking forward to it, mate.
Can't wait.
I'll make sure I've got contact for you, mate. But thank you so much, mate, and we'll catch up.
Pleasure. See you soon. Let's go. Take care. 24 and 24. Come on.
See you later, mate. There we go, guys. Thank you so much to Simon Hill. What an absolute fabulous conversation. I am so buzzing with that. You know, how on earth is tonight gone? I do apologise if we're not gone through everyone's comments, but, you know, I've got to like everyone's comments. But yeah, absolutely astounding. But, you know, I will be wrapping up in a minute, but it's going to take me a while to get down from this. First proper guest of the year. But, you know, I thank you guys for actually being here, you know, and I am really, really buzzing, you know, to see exactly you guys joining in. I'm probably going to have to head off and just wind down for the evening. But thank you so much, guys. I will be live on Saturday for a bit of a recap of what's happened tonight. But, you know, tonight has been argumentatively one of the best. I don't know, do I stay a bit longer? Do we want me to stay a bit longer and have a bit of a chat? You know. But yeah. Obviously, I'm not going to go just yet. I might just stay for a bit longer just to annoy you guys. But I'm going to get a bit of a drink because, you know, I've been talking for an hour. But yes, I will be back in 1 second. I'm just going to get a drink of water because I need one. But do stick around. If you guys are new around here, please do like and obviously follow Hoppers Motorsport Blogs because, you know, we've got some amazing content coming very soon. But I'm just going to get a quick drink of water. I'll be back in 1 moment. Oh. Still got people watching. There we go. So yes, guys, please do if you can. Yeah, no worries, Kev. But yes, guys, if you are new around here, please do follow and like Hoppers Motorsport Blogs for more amazing content because such as that. But yeah, Monday we have, of course, Daryl. Daryl's going to interview me to get to know me a bit more. You guys get to know me a bit more. You know, I'm just looking how many people are watching, but we've probably had quite a lot of people watching tonight, which is to be fair. But yeah, please do join me on Saturday for a bit of a recap of what's happened over the last couple of days. I honestly thought tonight was going to be a really, I don't know how to put it. I thought, you know, I was going to be a bag of nerves. I thought it's not going to happen. But yeah, it has happened. We've finally had the first proper guest of the year. I'm buzzing for many more. I'm going to try and twist other people's arms now. But, you know, I'm buzzing. I really am. I'm really glad. I do apologise if I've not seen everyone's comments. I know people were saying hello and how things were, you know. But it is what it is. I'm just going to put my comments in just so you guys know I'm still here. But, you know, what a fabulous evening. And yes, you know, it has been a bit of a whirlwind, you know. I spoke to Simon a couple of hours
ago. I spoke to him on the phone just to, you know, talk about what we're going to talk about tonight, and it put my mind at ease. And for that to happen and argumentably be a very class interview, because I've seen many people. I don't know how many likes and how many people in total watching. People were saying 11, people were saying 17 people were watching us. 17 people watching us at one point. How on earth? If you have seen it or you shared it round, please do share it round, because it will help me massively. I know it's going to be, you know, the live video is not going to happen when you shared it, but please do, because, you know, yeah, well, I had to phone him back because I actually fell asleep, Daryl, when he phoned me. But no, I'm really glad tonight went well. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if you have. I will stay for a bit longer. I will stay till about past, just to, you know, just to come down from that, because, you know, it's something that I've been really high emotional. You know, I want to cry happy tears. I'll tell her that. Dear fan says thanks for turning the light off because it was blinding him.
I turned it off.
No, you turned the light on, but then you took, because it reflects.
Oh, you're not welcome.
Oh, don't you start doing that. But yes, guys, you know, I'm obviously going to stay till 9:30. But, you know, it was, how unreal was tonight? Seriously, you know, I'm probably going to waffle on now, and, you know, this will be on YouTube. So, you know, it will go onto our YouTube channel. But first proper guest of the year, you know, things have actually, you know, now probably going to kickstart the page, and the page is probably going to explode with likes and follows now. I feel really emotional because it's, you know, I kind of, you know, I knew tonight was going to happen. I knew things were going to go well, but I didn't expect, you know, it. But hats off to Simon. You know, Simon, if you're still watching, mate, thank you so much for coming on to give us an insight. You know, and like you say, Tracy, it is a first of many, and let's make it continue. You know, 5 years of Hoppers Motorsport Vlogs this year. Let's make it a big year, you know. And those who have stuck around and those who've joined recently, thank you so much, because you guys are all stars for it. I don't know how I managed to do this, you know. But, you know, I'm looking forward to many more now. I don't know who my next, I don't want to say victim because that's the wrong impression, but the next guest will be. I know Daryl's interviewing me on Monday. Do join us for that, because you guys will get to know me a bit more. But, you know, I just got to think who the next driver will be, or the next member of motorsport community will be. It's going to take me a while to calm down from this now. I'm not going to lie. But we've done it, you know. We've managed to get through. I don't know what it is with you guys, but you guys seem to really enjoy the content, you know, and hats off to you guys for being here. Some people were saying they were late joining. Don't ever worry, you know, but I'm really glad, you know, I'm really glad tonight has happened. I'm really glad you guys have enjoyed it. I don't know what else to talk about because I'm on such a high at the moment. I really am, you know, and I just feel like there's a lot of things ongoing. As you can tell, Jen's in the background. But it's all right, they're fun. It's fine, mate. Yeah, by the post this afternoon, it was like, because I didn't hear from him, I was a bit concerned, thinking, you know, what's going on. But then he messaged me while I was out this afternoon, and then we spoke 2 hours prior to going live. So, you know, I knew definitely we were still going ahead. But yeah, please do check out the first 15 minutes. You know, I didn't actually really. He was buzzing about the sticker. This is the thing. If you come on as a guest, you get some in reward for coming up and giving up your time, because, you know, it's what I do. But all I'm going to say guys, thank you for being you, and thank you for being here at the moment. I'm gonna have to react with everyone's comments, but I was kind of worried that it wasn't gonna go ahead. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't actually really introduce the live video tonight either, which is a first. I think we just dived straight into it. I think it's the first time, you know, he was watching the live video, and then, you know, looked who was watching, then requested for him to join, and then he joined straight away. So, you know, it just shows how, even though we had a slight slow connection stuff on my end, it still worked. And to talk about the likes of Ashton, Jake, you know, the insights to what's happening this year, it just shows. Yeah, I think half the time when people comment, because of obviously the amount of people that join Tracy, is obviously, you know, when people comment, it just, you know, I think the whole thing exploded with loads of comments at the time. So yeah, please do watch it back. But it's good to see some of the questions were answered, and he managed to find without me asking or without me putting certain things in. But if you are new around here, guys, and you've not followed Hopper's Match Spot Vlogs, or you've not liked the page, please do, for more amazing content like that, because you guys will be in for treats. I'm trying to pin down Dan Robot for next week, but at the moment I've not heard anything. Which, you know, I know Dan's a very busy guy. But yeah, I'm going to hopefully try and get more guests on this year. This year is going to be argumentably probably one of the best. I feel like crying in good tears because, you know, how well tonight has gone. You do, mate. Yes, I'm trying to get him next week, Daryl. I've messaged him, but I've not heard any response from him at the moment. But I know he's a very busy guy at the minute, so you never know. He may say yes. That's fine, Tiffon. Don't worry, mate. You know, I'm not in a major rush when people messaging me for the sticker, for the address. It's just I want to try and get them out before at least sort of this time next week, because I am back on the evenings at work next week. So, you know, I want to try and get them out before I forget, you know. But I'm really glad tonight went well. You know, it's been a while. It's been a long time coming trying to excuse me, been a long time coming trying to get things, you know, sorted. But, you know, I messaged Simon a few weeks ago. I messaged him last year. Get Sadie to sort it. Jenny Dalton can follow it up. She's the boss, like Simon said. Yeah, get Sadie Robot to, you know, get Robot to come on. But then I think it's half the time of being a dad, you know, to a little 3-year-old Ayla as well. So, you know, all these touring car drivers that are dads, it's very difficult to try and get hold of. But, you know, really enjoyed tonight, guys. Thank you so much for being you. Honestly, you guys, to see so many reactions and see so many people watching was absolutely unreal. You know, I feel like I want to cry happy tears because it happened. You know, Jen's the real reason why you guys get content. You know, I'm not going to lie about it. You know, Jen talks to me about. I talk to Jen about the vlogs and stuff like that. And for her to say, "Well, it's up to you. It's your thing," but then, you know, at least, you know, Jen got to say hello to Simon. You guys got to see Jen. Yes, I know she was in her pajamas, but that doesn't really matter. We need Carl Layton to talk about marshalling. Yes, we do. That's another thing. I need to try and relays with people this year. But yeah, anything else you want to tell me, or anything you want to say? What do you think about tonight, guys? Did you enjoy it? Did you think tonight was amazing? You know, I think it was. I think we did very well. Didn't really talk about Simon's racing as much, but we'll talk waffling about btcc. But that's something that we can, you know, can carry on with, because that's what we're all about. And for someone to recognise that I'm a damn robot and fun, you know, that means a lot, you know. Well, let me know what you think about tonight. Simon was outstanding, just like Alan. Yes, of course, yeah. I think you know, this is the thing, isn't it? You know, to see what went on, and still 8 people watching. The 8 people are watching. Thank you guys and girls. But yeah, you know, I was really a bit concerned, thinking, is tonight going to go ahead? You know, am I going to break down and struggle to get my words out? But no, we seem to do really well, and you know, hats off. And things will happen. Things do come and go, you know. But I think the more I see it now, and you know, I think not seeing the slow connection for a while. So you know, it was what it is, and Tracy's enjoyed it. But I'm glad Simon's give you a bit of an insight for what's going to potentially happen this year. You know, and you know, it's great to actually to have the first guest of the year on. It's been a while, hasn't it? It's been a while since October since we had a guest. You know, we just need the likes of like Dan Rowbottom and people like that now to join, and you know. But it's you guys creating the safe atmosphere. That's what it is, you know. But hats off to you guys. I'm a bit, you know, struggling for words now because of how well tonight's gone. Ooh. But yeah, please do join me on Saturday when we have a bit of a recap of what's happened this week. I've probably got loads of likes to go through and loads of comments to react to with the care emoji. So you know, please do bear with. I know people were saying hello to me. I wasn't being rude, guys. Thank you to people that people were saying hello. So I do apologise if I missed anyone's comments. You need to get Robo on next. Yes, of course. Yeah, well, that's the thing, Diffon. We did say that he wasn't going to be on for long. You know, I was meant to get him for 40 minutes, but I think it's just over an hour. So it was just an hour. So you know, it worked quite well. But yes, we definitely need to get Robo on next. If you are watching, mate, you do need to come on because you know I'm begging. Well, I'm not begging, but I want you to appear. But as I say, he's probably been a busy guy, and you know, getting deals ready for this year, and most likely being a dad. So, excuse me, but you know, I'm really glad you guys enjoyed it tonight. I've enjoyed it, you know, but and it's good that people said that, you know, considering he wasn't here for long, you know, and that's the joys of you know, having to work as well. And you know, I've really enjoyed it. You know, I think what's happened tonight is, you know, arguably one of the best live videos to start off the year. You know, I know I waffle on quite a bit, but you know, to see what's happened tonight, you know, I was hoping tonight would be a big success, and it has been. I'm not going to lie. I think what's happened now is really kick-started what's going to happen for the rest of the year. So, you know, I'm going to try and twist a few arms, I think, and get many people. But hats off to you guys for being here, you know, commenting, liking. And if you guys are new around here, why haven't you liked and followed Hopper's Motorsport Vlogs? Please do, because now is the time to do it. So, to wrap up this evening, and Robo, once you be on here, Hoppers will leave you alone. I probably will leave him alone. Yeah. No, Diffon, I will never ever leave him alone. No. I'll never leave Robo alone. I think he's a class guy. I think he's, you know, he's out of this world. But yes, I can see Rich from the Hard Compound is now following by the Hard Compound, so it's good to have. But yes, guys, if you are, and this is a plug for tomorrow, if you are a member of the Hard Compound or you're not, go and check that out. Rich is live tomorrow for a fan base Q&A tomorrow. His second ever one. Please go and give him some credit tomorrow. Give him some questions. Give him some killer questions. Just don't ask, would he fight a horse-sized duck or duck-sized horse like you guys did to me the other day. I still can't forgive you over that. But also, he's got the legendary Malcolm Wilson a week today on the hard compound. Go and check that out next week as well. Please go and give him some credit, give him some due, because he deserves it. As much as I do content like this, go and give Rich some extra credit on behalf of me. I will be there tomorrow commenting, and I'll also be there for the Malcolm Wilson interview, because I'm looking forward to that, because with the rally team based in Cumbria, which obviously I'm based, but need one guest a month. Yes, we do. But you know, please do go and give Rich some credit tomorrow. He would love it. He really would. You know, very hard to get guests on. Hopefully, I can do it. Well, that's true. You know, Darryl says need one guest a month. Great plug-in indeed. I'm glad you guys can call me my name as well. I don't mind whether you call me Hoppers or Andy on the live video. I'm not really fussed. You know, I've really enjoyed tonight. You know, I feel like I need to wind down. I don't know how I'm going to wind down. You know, there's no beer in the fridge. There's no beer to hand. But, you know, might have a cup of tea after me water. But yeah, but guys, thank you so much for tonight. Means so much to me. Oh my days. I want to cry. Happy tears. 2 new comments. Just not Andrew. Darryl, behave. Behave yourself, son. But no, you know, in all seriousness, you know, thank you guys for being here, you know, this evening. If you haven't seen the post on the vlog page, like the Q&A that I put up yesterday, and, you know, what you'd like to see from a live video perspective, you know, today, I'm not going to lie, today has been a bit of a hard day with me, hard day for me. It's been 8 years since my granddad passed away today, but having Simon on tonight's made the day even sweeter and, you know, better. So, you know, I'd just like to raise, obviously it's a glass of water, but I'd like to raise a glass to everyone for being here, and also in memory of my late grandparents. So, you know, let's see what next week brings. But yes, please do join us Saturday if you can for a bit of a recap what's happened this week, as well as probably some Saturday night shenanigans. But if you're not here Saturday, don't ever worry. It's always there to watch back. But please do join us at 8:45 next Monday when Darryl's going to interview me. Get to know me a bit more. Don't know how it's going to work, but I'm sure it'll work perfectly. And yeah, who knows? Who knows how many likes and follows and how many likes I've got on the page now? Who knows? But really appreciated this evening, guys. But I don't know. I don't want to stay, but I do want to stay, but I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what to say. That's what I meant to say. Not don't want to stay. If you get it. But let's see what's going to happen. But anything else you want to ask me before I go, please do. I'm not going to sign off just yet. Whew. I am loving it, Darryl, indeed. I am, not going to lie. So good to see. It is, mate. It is. I think, you know, tonight has been argumentably one of the best. You know, and I think having a look with what's going on. Hang on, just give me 1 second. But yeah. Yeah, stay warm, happy. I'm going to stay. I am going to stay for a bit longer. I'm not going to lie. I will stay for a bit longer. But you know, I don't know where to begin or you know how to wrap up this live video. It's been argumentably really amazing tonight. First I was on the coffee on Monday, now I'm on the hard stuff, water. But no, I really appreciate everyone being here tonight. You know, and it's nice to see that people have really enjoyed it as well, because for an insight for what's happening this year and also what's been happening over the last couple of years, and didn't really touch a lot on Simon's career, but you know, to see and hear about Jake's career in btcc and other bits and pieces, you know, it just shows how many people. And on Saturday you'll be back on the beer. I've had a few today, mate, to be fair, not gonna lie. Went to snooker club this afternoon, so I had 1 or 2 pints. Went out this afternoon, so you know, well, I've been off work and I'm back to work on Monday, so back to reality. But yeah, so sometimes I wish Hoppers Watch Spot Vlogs was my job, because then it's so much easier, but then it isn't, sadly. Excuse me. But I'm going to have to go through everyone's comments and react to the comments. I am this week, mate. I have been off this week. Been off since Monday, mate. Hence why the live video was at 8 o'clock, mate. But yeah, so it's killing me here. Ugh. But yeah, so I'm really buzzing, to be honest. I don't know how to wrap up. But really glad you guys have enjoyed tonight, and it's been a pleasure. You know, to have a great insight and stuff like that. You know, it's how things should be, isn't it? But what's going to happen next week? Are we going to have chaos next week? I don't know. Apart from Monday, I don't know when else I'm going live next week. So, you know, when do I go live next week? Apart from Monday. But yes, guys, what else to talk about? What else do you guys want to know? Apart from hearing me waffle on and trying to wind down. Chaos, what do I mean? You lot asking me about a horse-sized duck and a duck-sized horse is what? Chaos. There's always chaos when it's a general chit-chat. But no, seriously, you know, tonight has been one of the best. So thank you guys. I'll give you a bit of a clap. But thank you so much. You know, I can't wrap up this live video. Found out tonight the first 2 F1 races are on the Saturday this season. Because aren't they both sprint races? I don't know. Are they? We've got 2 sprint races to start off the season. Or is it just the way things are? I don't know. Yeah, I've not seen about that, Darryl, so I don't know, mate. It's not sprint racing. Really? That's interesting. Why is it on a Saturday? Boring. If it's on a Saturday, because it's Ramadan. Fair point. Yeah, fair enough. If it's to do with Ramadan, then fair enough. That's going to be very weird then on a Saturday, not Sunday. Fair enough. But yeah, I'm going to wrap up very soon now, guys, because you know I've been talking for over an hour and a half. Yes, I do want to continue. Stop doing this to me. But yeah, I don't know how to wrap up, and I don't know how to wind down. You know. The weekends are Thursday to Saturday. That's going to be weird, the first 2. Ah, okay, fair enough. But yeah, is there anything else you want to ask me? Or is there something else you want to know? Stick it in the comments, guys. Please let me know before I wrap up, because otherwise I'll be talking for ages. Not wrong with talking for ages. I just don't know how to wind down. But I'm really grateful for this evening. I want to cry happy tears, but I can't, because if I do, then it's not going to be the best, is it? If I cry again. Shakedown for the WRC was on today, and the first stage is starting tomorrow. This is going to be a cracker WRC season. Not seen Shakedown, mate. I'll have to have a look at the results of that, but something I'll look at. Excuse me. Ooh. But yeah, tonight has been one of the best, I think. I think we've safely to say that the second live video this week has been one of the best. You know, Monday with a general chit chat and a bit of friendly banter, top notch, and then tonight out of this world. Oh, guys, what am I going to do? You know, I don't know if I'm going to have to sleep tonight because of how much I've enjoyed tonight. But yeah. Have I had my tea yet? Yes, I have, mate. I had a Chinese. I had a Chinese before going live, so there you go, mate. No, I'm tired now. I had a bit of a snooze and then I'm tired again. But I'll probably wrap up in the next couple of minutes anyway. But as I say, guys, thank you for being you. Thank you for being here. And thank you again to Simon for coming on for such a top class, amazing live video this evening. So, guys, I'm gonna go and wind down because I need to. But yes, this live video will go onto YouTube, and we will hopefully see you guys on Saturday. Not too sure what Saturday is going to be all about now, because you know there's some stuff I want to try and talk about. But yes, we will be live on Saturday at 8 PM, and then of course next Monday at 9:15 UK time in the evening. Until then, guys, have a fabulous week. Have a fabulous, you know, have it up, you old fart. Oi, do you want the ban hammer? I'm an old fart. Well, I am 35 this year, mate. So there you go. KP doing half a season, yes. Or Kalivov and Paris doing half a season, yeah. But yeah, it's I'm an old fart, probably. Oh, probably I'm different, to be fair. I feel it sometimes. But yes, I'm going to go and wind down. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Thank you for Simon for being here as well, for giving up his a bit of his time for this evening. But I will see you guys Saturday. You're all legends as per usual. Thank you for being you. Thank you again for being here. I will see you guys Saturday, and I will see some of you guys next week for Daryl's interview. In the meantime, if you check out the latest content, please do. And if you are new around here, please do like and follow Hopper's Motorsport Vlogs. It would help me massively, because we might be reaching a big number. And yes, I will see you guys very soon. Looking forward to the next one. Always look forward to next live videos. Have a good rest of your week. I will see some of you guys on Saturday. I may see some of you guys on Monday. But let's go, because it's going to be an epic rest of the month and also the rest of the year. Until Saturday and Monday, take care, ta-ra, and have a good night. Thank you, guys. All legends. Speak to you soon. Over and out.